In our previous Plan of Plans videos, we provided an introduction to what a plan of plans is, and we demystified roll-up and mirror plan types. At this point, we're ready to jump into the tool and create a plan of plans. And when you do that, you can choose to build out your single release plans first and use those to populate your plan of plans, or you can start with your plan of plans, and that's probably more typical. When you're doing strategic planning, say for an annual plan, you're often starting that process before there's even enough information to build out those feature-based release plans. So we're going to start with our plan of plans. Now, you might be thinking, hold on, that's not the capacity planning page, and you're right, because the first thing we want to do is make sure our portfolio items are ready to plan, and that starts here. Actually, this kind of strategic planning often starts in a tool that's not Rally, probably a PPM tool like Clarity. And once you've created what we call the big rocks of your strategic planning, you want to bring those into Rally to do the work planning. In our workspace, that work planning will start at the initiative level. That's one level above the features that hold your work items and let you do your single release planning. And this is the critical link between your strategic planning and your work planning, the initiative. One quick pro tip. I recommend color coding your portfolio items. You can do this for your release plans, but it's even more helpful at this higher level. Assign a color to each strategic objective and then to all the child items underneath it. That way, when you're looking at the child items, it's clear what objective they roll up to and support. What's that you say? There aren't enough colors in Rally? Well, a lot of people don't know this, but you can also add emojis to the name field. And I would add the same emoji to all of the child items so you can identify the big rock they're supporting at a glance. So we have our initiatives defined and we're ready to create our plan. For that, we go to the capacity planning page. We make sure we're in the project where we want to create our plan. And here we can see all of the plans that have been created for this project, and we can search and filter this list. But we're creating a new plan, so I'm going to select Add New. We'll give it a name, select Plan of Plans, and our annual plan will start in Q1 and go through Q4. Next, we'll specify the portfolio item type. Remember that your single release plans happen at your lowest level portfolio item. For us, that's a feature, and your plan of plans takes place one level higher, and for us, that's an initiative. You can use user story points or user story counts for all of your plan calculations. I'm going to go with points. And with those selections done, we can select Continue. Now we get to select our type of plan, and there's a whole other video that helps you understand this distinction. But in a nutshell, if your project hierarchy in Rally reflects the organization of your delivery streams, and you want to roll data from your release plans up to a higher parent level in your project hierarchy, then Rollup is for you. If your project hierarchy doesn't reflect the structure of your delivery streams, or you want to create a plan of plans for teams that don't have a hierarchical relationship in your workspace, then Mirror is the way to go. I'm going to choose Rollup and create my Rollup plan. And here's our new plan. Super easy, but also pretty empty. For a little context, this type of strategic planning might start as early as September for the following year. And that's where we are now. And this whole process is going to take place over the next 12 to 15 months. But we're going to simulate that process in a few minutes. So buckle up, because here we go. The first thing we're going to do in September is add our projects to the plan. And this process is identical to all other capacity plans. For a plan of plans, we're going to be adding teams of teams or delivery streams rather than individual teams. And the projects that we add here are going to map to the projects that will have a separate release plan in a few months. In this example, our delivery streams are organized around geographies, Australia, EMEA, and North America. Once those projects are added, we need to define their capacities. And you can look back at the capacity planning videos for more information about using historical data to figure this out. The only difference in a plan of plans is that we need to figure out capacity for a much longer time frame. And look at that nice big green bar with all that open capacity. Wonderful. Now we're ready to add our portfolio items. Again, this is just like a capacity plan. But another pro tip here In our capacity plan videos, we showed going to the tab for the portfolio items to add these and then assign them to the appropriate project. But we can also assign them from the Projects by Total tab from within each project, and that not only adds them, but also assigns them to that project. We talked about color coding all of our portfolio items, and because I did that, I know that Australia gets all the blue ones, EMEA gets all the green and orange ones, and North America gets all the purple ones. So here's all the stuff that we want to do next year. But there's a whole bunch of red here. And again, don't panic. We're just getting started, and this number of warnings are expected and perfectly normal. And we're going to address them and make our plan better. The first one that jumps out at me is that EMEA is way over capacity. The project team talked, and we all agreed that it makes sense to move these Amazon initiatives to North America. Another little pro tip, in the capacity planning video, we did this by going to the Portfolio Items tab and reassigning them. But now that you understand the Allocate option, we can actually do that from the Projects tab as well. Selecting Allocate and leaving the Estimate field blank does the same thing as the Assignment field in the Portfolio Items tab. So let's get these initiatives to North America. So that helped, but certainly not enough. The project team talked again and agreed to move the Splunk, Oracle, and PMP work to Australia. Australia and North America look good, but EMEA is still in trouble. And this is where we realize that there's just no way all of this work is going to fit into this plan. We're going to have to move some stuff out. After more discussions, which is what planning is really all about, we realize that there's no way we can enable our satellites with AI, so we need to remove that from the plan. Same thing for the Asia hub. Now our capacities are looking pretty good, still a little high, but not bad for this point in the plan. And these other warnings are just telling us that we don't have feature estimates. And we know that because we just created our plan and we haven't even created the features yet. So now it's time for more discussions. So product, engineering, maybe some team leads get together and go through all this. They break these initiatives into the general features that they think are probably required. It's early planning days. They give those features some very high-level t-shirt style preliminary estimates. And then we can come back to our plan and see how things are looking. This whole process is just an iterative series of feedback cycles. Moving into the future, after those conversations have happened, our plan now looks something like this. We have some feature estimates, our capacity still looks good, but we're starting to see some new issues, like this one where the feature estimates exceed what we estimated for the initiative. That means as we created our features for this initiative and put some sizes on that, the roll-up of those estimates exceed what we initially estimated for the initiative as a whole. And we have the same tools as any capacity plan to identify and address these issues. We can refine our estimates now that engineering has made its first pass and we have more information. The roll-up of the feature estimates is 40, but our initial estimate was 25. Let's change that to 50 to give us a little room for even more scope growth. We can also use allocations to divide the work between multiple teams. So let's assume that we've had those discussions and made the adjustments in our plan, and with another little trip into the future, Q1 is now around the corner, and we have a pretty mature plan. We've refined our estimates, we've pulled some stuff out of the plan, we've moved stuff around, we've split some of the work through allocations, and this is what we're looking at now. Wow, so little red. These teams have put in a lot of work and had a lot of discussions to get this plan clean and refined. Notice that our estimates look a lot more specific and are using refined estimates. Our capacities look good, and we're feeling pretty comfortable with this plan. Now we're ready for our teams to take a look and start building out their single release plans, creating the user stories for their features so they can get to work. And we connect those single release plans to our plan of plans from the Projects by Release tab. On the right, we can see our plan summary, and we'll just start at the top with Australia and select Connect Plan in our Q1 column. We happen to know that Australia has already created their Q1 plan. It already exists, so we'll just connect an existing plan. There it is. Let's connect it. Same thing for EMEA. And even at this level, we can see whether there are any warnings associated with this release plan. So they've created their plan, but they still have some work to do, which is not surprising at this point. So throughout the year, as these plans get created, you can connect them to your plan of plans. And a little farther down the road, your plan might look something like this. So Q1 looks like it's largely planned, Q2 is about half planned, and we've even started to think a bit about Q3 and Q4. As we move even farther into the year, your plan might start to look something like this. Here we're starting to see some dark blue, indicating that some work has actually been completed. Now you can start to see your actuals against your plan. And we can also see the progress toward our initiatives as a whole. So many months of your life have now passed by in a few minutes. We did in a few minutes what will take place over the course of a year. But hopefully this helps you see how you move from the vague ideas at the start of your strategic planning to a point where teams are actually checking in code. But before we shut down this video, it's probably worthwhile to call out a few points that hopefully you glean from this example. The first thing is the importance of cycles, and hopefully we provided some sense of that. This type of planning is iterative, with cycle after cycle of refinement coupled with the right discussions. Don't feel like you have to create a final, comprehensive, static plan for your next year in September. The other thing is that this might seem overwhelming at first, but there's actually no extra work here. You're already doing this, maybe on whiteboards or in spreadsheets or other tools, but you're doing this work. But if you're going to use Rally to track your work, why not do your planning right here with a plan of plans in Rally's capacity planning page? To learn more about Rally and Agile practices, check out our blog and community. Like this video and subscribe to our channel so that you'll never miss new content as it's added.